Hear him talking. Bloody kids, shut up.
Welcome back to a special live edition of Where Robins Walk. It's to wrap up the season and, of course, to chew over the playoff and disappointment. We've got Suts and Liam back with us. Thank you very much for joining us. We massively appreciate all your support over this season. And, of course, it's the first time we've had a chance to catch up with you both since your trip to Sheffield. So hope you're both well. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for joining us. Right, Liam, you've had a chance now to get over the disappointment. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think it's just one step too far, wasn't it? I think as soon as Dickie was given the red card, that was getting the penalty. It was game over. Langford loves a red card. He's shown it obviously two at Oxford. He sent Trey Hume off the other week at our place. De Silva down for Coventry. He as soon as that Dickie made that attempt for tackle, I was actually sat in the south stand behind it where it happened, and the chap next to me, he looked at me and said, "What do you reckon?" I said, "He's off." There was no double jeopardy at all. It probably was the right decision. He's pulled him back before he's made the tackle, but as soon as that was given, that and they scored, that was tie over for me. That's twice this season against Sheffield United. Dickie's done that. That's twice he's cost us.
Yeah. So was that? Did you have a similar view that? I mean, Manning got a view out straight after the first leg that wasn't. It was a ridiculous decision.
At the time, obviously, it happened so fast on the pitch. You see it and frustrations. But watching it back, I was one of these people quite vociferous in my view that it wasn't a red. So I thought there was enough doubt. But like we said about Langford, Oliver Langford does love a red. He's trigger. That card is on trigger. You're thinking such a massive moment in the game. I mean, it was injury time of the first half, 0-0. He could have consulted his linesman. Even if he still made up his mind, is a red, he could have gone over to the line-out that was on that side and just said, "Have you seen anything to stop the issue of a red?" Just, do you know what I mean? Rather than just take that decision himself. But as I said, I still have, I mean, the laws of gravity and things like that, if you're pulling someone back, they don't fall forward. And Moore, don't get me wrong, I mean, Moore he's a clever player. He's been around a bit, and he played it well, didn't he? He made sure that it was an easy decision for the ref. And even though, we went for the appeal, everybody in the world knew that would be an absolutely frivolous thing to do, because no way were the FA going to throw Oliver Langford under a bus after he had the red card with Walsh rescinded. And his other thing, they weren't going to overturn it in a million years, because they basically would have ended his career. So no way was that going to happen. But it changed. That single moment changed everything.
Yeah, obviously a touch on the Rob Dickie thing. He's an experienced pro. Why? I mean, knowing Kiefer Moore, he probably would have missed anyway. So why? There's no need for him to do that tackle. I mean, the build-up was terrible, wasn't it?
You play football, things happen in a nanosecond. You make that decision, and you don't literally probably have time to think. He's just done it on instinct. And look, it is what it is. And like I say, we could debate and argue everything about it until the cows come home. Fact is, the red card he sent off, scored the penalty, it changed everything.
I think at the end of the day, though, I think we just weren't good enough after that. At the same time, the two goals we conceded in the second half, the defending was shocking. It was awful, especially the third goal. The second goal was good, but they pulled us out of position. It was flashed across the box. And obviously, back post, not whoever was playing left wing back at the time. I don't think it was Roberts, because it would have been Sam Bell.
We'll never know. We'll never know. Because if we'd gone in 0-0 time with 11 players, you never know. Yeah.
No, it's a different game. Put us on the back foot, but the defending for those two goals was absolutely diabolical. The man must be, I would say, pulling his hair out, but he's got less than me. So, but I bet he was seething about it.
Yeah. And then, of course, the return trip to Sheffield. So you got yourself on TV, didn't you? Let's have a quick look at this one before we get there.
To get to the Premier League.
I can't tell you. It's like literally all I've wanted to see in my life. I hope that I live long enough to see it.
I mean, no. The answer to that is that before the home. And the answer is, I'm probably not going to live long enough to see it.
You got to meet Mr. Manning as well. Yeah, and he did you give him any advice before the
Yeah,
the second leg?
Yeah, just told him that can we try and keep it tight and not lose the leg 6-0, lose the tie 6-0. Yeah, didn't listen.
No. I mean, were you disappointed? I mean, I know there's been lots said about Bristol City about the worst side ever in the feature in the Championship and stuff. But were you disappointed with how you went into that game and the way that you played, especially in that first half, given that you needed an early goal?
Well, we did. I mean, for the first 20 minutes, we kind of bossed it up there, didn't we? And we had a couple of half chances. We needed to take those. But the longer it went on and the longer we didn't score, then it settled things down. I mean, there was 2,000 of us up there that literally did not stop singing all night and making a noise. And we did for much of it out-sing the Sheffield United fans. But literally, they were comfortable. They just needed to kind of soften us out. Let us have that bravado, that first sort of bluster that we did. And then no goal coming. And literally, that goal just before half-time was an absolute killer. And you couldn't have written it because he'd just been down injured, Kiefer Moore, and got absolutely boatloads from the City fans in front. And then he's got up and done that. But I will point out that there was a foul on Max O'Leary.
Yeah, and it happened at the corner before as well, Tom Cannon.
Exactly the same. Yeah. But anyway, look, things like that happen in football. But the end of the day, that killed it. That literally anything we had left, that was done. And it was a case of just supporting the team and being proud of what they've achieved this season.
Cheers, sir. What have you made, Liam, of the fallout from City fans, first of all, to forget the general public about the game? There's been some few reactionary ones saying January killed us. It was on January. That other ones have said, look, let's just be realistic here. We were up against the third best side in the league and we came up short. Where do you stand between those two views?
I can see the point with January not strengthening when everyone around us had done. But on the flip side of that coin, I can understand why the club didn't, considering what they did in the summer. They can't go out and just throw money at it. They tried that before, and look where it left us. Left in a situation where we had to hit the reset button and rely on free transfers and experienced pros and steadying the ship for 2 or 3 seasons. I can understand the frustration, but at the same time, I'd probably side with the club. Look, we've got to look after ourselves. We run the risk of playing with a smaller squad than what probably is needed. Some of the reactions, you're going to get fickle tweets, aren't you? You're going to get opinions are there. That's the beautiful thing about football. Opinions are there to be said. No, my opinion is completely different to what Suts might say. He might not agree with me for what I say. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. That's my opinion. And that is the brilliant thing about football. No opinion is the same. But I will say, I see loads of people saying we should get rid of X, Y, Z, and him. I've seen someone say we need to get rid of these 7 players. Okay, that's fair enough. But then you have to find people to buy those 7 players, and you also have to replace the 7 players and then strengthen on top of those 7 players. So if people come out and say stuff like that, they need to give their heads a bloody wobble, if you ask me.
Yeah. The most popular player in those discussions was O'Leary. So here's a couple. Matt says, right, O'Leary, Roberts, Tanner can all F off in the summer. We need a new keeper, 2 centre-backs, a right-back and a striker. You completely hindered us in January and you effing know it. We brought a striker in the summer, then months later, he's gone. Is Matt right here, Suts?
No, not in my opinion. No. Unfortunately for Max, for 2 seasons now, he's had absolutely zero competition for his place. Because I know that Bajic has just gone, but he played, three cup games, got battered 6-0 in one of them. He was never even an option. Even when O'Leary was injured for the Preston game, going into it, they played an injured O'Leary over Bajic in that game. So you've got to have 2 keepers that are challenging for the position to up their game. And he's had no competition whatsoever. Now, what people do forget is, Max has had some moments like all keepers do, but he's also kept us in a few games and pulled off some absolute blinding saves. And I actually personally think towards the end of the season, his all-round game had improved slightly, albeit coming for crosses, but his distribution and his quick thinking and his shot stopping. But I just think, no, yeah, keep him, but we do need a keeper to challenge him.
Yeah, you agree, Liam?
Yeah, completely. I've always sort of not I'd say protected Max, but sort of been on his side with things because, like Sut said, we've not had anyone really that's going to push him to improve his game. There are areas of his game he can improve on, like Sut said, distribution. But if you watch Pat Mountain doing his kicking with him before a game, you can see why his distribution's poor. Because we've got a goalkeeper coach there who can't kick a ball 40 yards. So what do they expect? Yeah, gone are the days where we used to have 2 or 3 keepers, playing for the one position. Now we just seem to have the one keeper that knows if he makes a mistake, there's no one behind him knocking on the door. I think we definitely need that sort of keeper, even if you bring in an experienced keeper like we did that time with Myron when Bentley was in goal. He ended up pushing Bentley out of the team for a couple of months. So even if we go down that way of signing a 32, 33-year-old pro who's been there, but still good enough to play in every week, for me, that'd be the way to go, because I think that would give Max a little lift and a push at the same time.
Yeah.
But no, getting rid of him, I think.
Yeah, on the
If you
striker
get rid
side,
of him, he's going to play.
There's no debate whatsoever around the striker side of things. We need
Well,
a striker.
Even Lansdowne, you hear Lansdowne talk before the second leg at Brownwood Lane. Even he said they will be in for a centre forward in the summer.
Yeah, I mean they took a gamble. They took a gamble on Fally and Sinclair, and you've got to think, they spent what, 5 million on a couple of young players, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out at all. It could have done, because if you think about, I know I'll be slated for this, but we had a very, very young Tammy Abraham come on loan to us, and scored 20 goals in a season from nowhere. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. One of these guys could have done that, but it hasn't worked out. For one reason or another. But then if you look at what you need to spend in the championship to get a decent striker, it's big bucks.
It's not just about buying it. They're on about a championship ready striker as well. And you look at the money that Luton were asked to pay for Kone in the January. Kone played in League One and Wycombe wanted 10 million for him. There's no way we're going to go out and spend 10 million on someone that's untested. To sign a player that's going to hit the ground running, they're going to have to spend that sort of money. We're just not going to do it.
Well, Jordan Rhodes' last transfer was 10 million. The very last transfer he had was 10 million for a player.
Well, you look at Brian Brewster. His transfer fee was £23 million. That was more than our starting 11 combined.
Yeah. And that's I'll still go back to the point that start of the season, nobody in their right mind would have said Bristol City would finish top 6. The fact that I put a drunken £100 bet on City to finish top 6 back last June was drunk. I would have done it sober, and it came in brilliant. But no one would have said it in a million years. You look at our squad, and loads of Sheffield United fans have agreed with me. Leeds, Burnley, like our squad, we have the lowest amount of players in the Championship. It was 24 players last season, lower than anyone. The budget, we're in the bottom third. And the value, we're competing against the Sheffield United that in January we sent 2 players out on loan. They brought in 7 new players.
They paid 12.5 million for Tom Cannon.
With their parachute payments and everything like that. It was just a step too far, especially when we had the likes of Dickey, who was out suspended. I mean, second leg we lost Williams. Sykes was a massive miss for us. McNally at the back. I mean, so out of that squad of 24, you look at those injuries are all first names on the team sheet.
The only thing I will say about those sets, I agree with the parachute payments and they're having it a little bit better. They go on about the wage budget, etc., etc. We went up there in a couple of months back and played them off the park. So to say that we can't do it, I think
it's very different circumstance. Very different.
Yeah, I know it's different. We didn't have a couple of players that were suspended and injured, but the team wasn't overly different. There was probably 2 players missing.
Sheffield United were a little bit twitchy at that time as well, because at that night when they did take the lead, they went top, but there were still 3 of them very tight. Leeds were going on a bit of a bad run or coming out of it. It was all very tight and very twitchy. and literally we silenced the crowd, but we didn't take our chances. They went 1-0 up. Yeah, we did for the first half play it, but that's a sign of a quality side. It's like they did us at Ashton Gate. Yeah, they kept playing, scored in the 93rd minute to win. Yeah, that's the quality that they have all around. Yeah, and the belief. And I just think,
I mean the quality is there to be seen, but I still think we could put probably a bit more of a fight up in the second leg personally.
Yeah, I mean, the formation that we picked, and I would have thought that we might have gone 2 up top just to have a go at it.
I mean,
that's what some people are saying. Yeah, had a bit more of a threat. Yeah,
I
mean, it's interesting. I've said in the past about having a plan B, but you listen to for me, man. You look at our away form this year. We've won 4 games away from home this year. We've got 22 points from a possible 66. That's our away form. Now, to me, when you play away, you have to have plan B. You can't keep going with the same 3-4-2-1. You listen to what Wilder said after the game, that they knew we were going to press high. They knew we were hard on the press. So their secondary plan was to play over that into Kiefer Moore, play off the second balls. But he had a plan B. Manning hasn't got that. Over the summer, he needs to look at himself, not just him, it's the coach and staff around him, and say we need to adopt to have a plan B. If plan A isn't working, playing these nice little 5-yard, 10-yard intricate passes, play over the press, then win the ball in the midfield. Other teams do it. Why can't we?
However, we need a balanced squad or abilities to change it. And we didn't have that across the whole squad. I mean, I said back last summer, we went gung-ho and very heavy on midfield. Very heavy on midfield. Yeah, we had so many options in that midfield area, but we didn't have options then around forwards, at the back. Yeah, and when things, we switched to a 4 at times when we had to. But I mean, literally at Sheffield United, we had one fit centre back available in Viner. That was it. Yeah, and I agree. We need a plan B, but you also need the players in the positions to be able to do that.
Okay. I shouldn't ask you this; it's a bit naughty. But who do you want to win on this weekend, then, Liam? Who do you want to see promoted?
I'd rather see Sunderland go, if I'm honest. They haven't been there for a while. I'm fed up with Sheffield United being in the new Norwich and being a yo-yo team.
Good.
To be honest, I was anyone apart from Coventry, which was good. But then I probably was Sunderland, but I've come swayed. So since the Sheffield United games, so afterward, I stayed in Sheffield on that Monday night, went out with some Sheffield United fans for a few beers. I met loads. Everyone I met on Twitter, like top people, right? And know football and respect things. So they weren't slating us like our own fats products. They could see and they understand where we've been, and they could also respect what we've done. So actually, do you know what? For that, I'm going to go Sheffield United.
Well, I think you're the only one in the country who is, apart from some Newcastle.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of Newcastle fans. Everybody, the whole footballing world is uniting. Yeah, I can see.
Sunderland's a cracking away trip though, because staying in Newcastle for the weekend is brilliant.
Yeah, fair enough. Right. Okay. Listen, commiserations. Obviously, we're privately gutted for you as well. But you go again, and hey, no, you've had a taste of it now. Hopefully, with a decent summer, we'll be back here again, and we'll be talking about playoffs again, if not even higher. Who knows? Thank you so much, both of you, and of course Sam and Ethan and Ben and others for sharing your views on Bristol City. We're going to give you this summer off now to go and just recharge your batteries. Liam, you look like you need it. It just drained you. And thank you very much for supporting the channel as well. We'll be back, of course, in the last week of July as we look ahead to the new season, new players, and of course, brand new opponents. So join us for that. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great summer, everyone. Thank you, Liam. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Have a good one.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for your time, mate. Cheers.